Hi, everybody. My name is Savannah. I am part of the customer success team here at Sendible, and I'm going to be joined later in the webinar by the lovely Julie, who is part of our support team. And today we are diving into Pinterest and the Pinterest integration with Sendible. I am so glad you could join us. Just a few things before we get started. If you've been to these before, you know that we like to start with an icebreaker. And you can fill in your icebreaker answers in the chat box. That's going to be just to the right. And then throughout the webinar, if you have any questions that come up about Pinterest or about that integration, feel free to stick them in the questions box that's just to the right of the chat. So the icebreaker for today is, what is your go-to karaoke song? Now, everyone has their own thought process here. Mine is "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen, because it just pumps me up so much. So drop those karaoke selections in the chat box there. Oh, Heather, you're going to have to try it. Karaoke is amazing. So much fun. Definitely gets you out of your comfort zone. Nice, Marcus. Awesome. All right. Ooh, Backstreet Boys. Amazing. Perfect. Okay. Well, you guys, I am so excited to dive in. But before I get started, this is really something that I wanted to talk about today because Pinterest is a really unique platform. And there is a lot of decision making that needs to go into whether or not Pinterest is the right platform for you or for your customers. So some of the first things that you're going to need to do is go through just a few questions that I would generally go through when trying to decide if Pinterest is the right platform. First, what do you provide? What is the service or the product that you provide that makes you invaluable to your customers? Second, who is your audience? And where does that audience live on social? And finally, what is your audience already searching for on Pinterest? Now, those three questions will help determine whether or not Pinterest is a good fit for you. So in my example today, I run, this is my dream, to run a bookstore that is also a bar with craft beer, because that combines two of my most favorite things. So I need to make a decision about who my audience is. So I'm a bar/bookstore, and I need to find, my audience is hipsters, people who love reading, who are also looking to have a great place to gather. Obviously, this is all imaginary, but and what is my audience looking for? Well, they're looking for education. They're looking for brewing their own beer. Maybe they're also looking for book recommendations. So those are the kinds of things that I want to think about when looking at Pinterest. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to show you first how to add a Pinterest profile. You're going to go to the profile section of your Sendible dashboard, and you're going to be able to go and add Pinterest just by selecting this. Now, I am going to stop sharing so that you guys can see my, you can see the pop-up that came up here. All right, so Sendible would like to see your boards, and I'm logged in again as Books and Brew, and I'm going to give access. So I'm going to select Give Access. Now you're going to see that I am logged in. This is the account that I am working out of. And the next thing I get to do is to select a Pinterest board. Each profile that you add each Pinterest profile is one single board. So just keep that in mind as you consider this is not necessarily the whole account, but rather each profile is the board that you're going to be posting to. So here we have some boards that I have on my Pinterest account. So I'm going to go ahead and select the beer aesthetic, and I'm going to go ahead and save those settings. All right. So now that I have saved those settings, you can see that my Pinterest has been saved to my account, and I can check that under my profiles. You can filter by type, and you can see that I've added 2 boards from the same account, but 2 separate boards, 2 different profiles. All right. So next, I'm going to create and compose a pin. I'm going to create a pin for my Pinterest board. So I'm going to go into the compose box, and I am going to select my Pinterest board, and I'm going to go ahead and choose beer aesthetic. So I'm going to select type a message if I'd like to. So something like beer tasting, right? That might be fun. Now, the next thing I need to do is attach media. Similar to Instagram, Pinterest does require that media is attached in order to be scheduled because it is a visual platform. So what I'm actually going to do is show you how you can create a pin from within the Canva integration in Sendible. So you'll go to the attach feature, this little paperclip icon, and you're going to go right into add media. Now, if you select the design element, you'll have the chance to read through the different options, and we do include the Pinterest pin. So now I'm just headed into Canva to design a pin that will work for me. All right. I appreciate your patience as this loads. Now, you're going to have templates available. You're going to be able to select. We do have free templates you can search through here. Now, let's say that I want to use this background, but I'm looking to kind of update this language here. So maybe I'm going to say brewing beer for beginners or just brewing beer. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and change this to books and brew, my company. And now you're going to see that you have just a few additional pieces here. You're going to have, they included a website, but you have a lot of flexibility with the things that you can do as you work on this pin. You can add different elements like flowers. You can even search for things like books or library or things like that. Again, trying to be on theme with your whatever you are creating a pin for. Next, you can alter text. You can go through and find just the right fonts to use, heading, subheading, body text, etc. But let's say we are happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and clear this because that is not my company. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this is clear. All right. And now all I'm going to add is a little bit of text saying, click to learn more. I'm going to go ahead and select all of this, and I'm going to make this bold. I want to make this a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see, because again, I want them to click my pin. There we go. Okay, publish. Now, this is going to pull your design right back into that compose box. Let's alter this. This isn't a beer tasting. You're invited to a beer class. All right. Now, In order for this pin to have a clickable link, all you'll have to do is actually insert a link right in here. Now I'm just going to pull a link here really quick. All right. So we have the morebeer.com, and I've attached this. And now we have the graphic that we've designed as well as a clickable link. So now we've decided that we get to decide when it's going to go live. You always are going to have the option to schedule it immediately, or you can schedule it out for a little bit further in advance. Let's say we want to schedule this for tomorrow, and we'll click through some optimal times. Let's say I want to do this maybe in the evening. I'll share it in the evening. So we'll go with maybe 6 p.m. All right. Okay, and schedule. Now, you're going to always have the ability to go under engage, and you're going to be able to check and make sure that the messages are scheduled out. So here we have, this is supposed to go out tomorrow at 6:01 p.m. Now you're also going to be able to check your sent view once it has been sent out, and you can see that this is what this looks like. You can see the pin itself as well as the link. You can double check and make sure that it clicks through. And you can also check your Pinterest account. Let me just pull it up. Awesome. And I'm just going to open up my Pinterest so that you can see what it looks like when it goes live. So I'm just going to click on the board that I posted to this morning. And you're going to notice you have this beautiful graphic. You're going to have also the clickable link. So if I do click on this, it is going to take you out to this link that I included in that caption. So the link does make your pin clickable, and you're going to be able to obviously utilize that. Awesome. All right, so that is utilizing Pinterest via Sendible. So that is all that I really wanted to initially go over. But while I was designing that, I want you to notice just a few best practice tips that Sendible wants you to keep in mind. The first being that please make sure that the pin image matches what you're linking to. We want to make sure that the content you're providing is really consistent so that people know that they can trust your pins. This is going to make sure you're a reputable source. We also want to make sure that your pinning frequency is healthy. That means that you're not dumping 50 pins, but rather that you're creating valuable content for your audience and sending them out at a reasonable pace. So that would be something in a few pins a day. My recommendation would not be to go to 5 a day. That's just because it does help if we keep it limited so that you really are providing value for your audience. Third, we want to keep pin content fresh. That's because we don't want repeat links or repeat images. We don't want you just sharing the same post or the same pin over and over and over again, because again, that's not exactly providing the value that Pinterest is looking for or that the Pinterest audience is looking for. Next, you want to stay away from salesy content. This can come in a variety of ways, but try not to appear spammy by providing real value. Now, this can be through providing, if you offer a beauty product, can be offering self-care tips or things like that, which provides value for your audience. And then you can include an awesome plug for your website, allowing them to go and see your product at its best. But just remember, you want to keep those 4 best practice tips, the pins match what you're linking to, number 1. Number 2, pin frequency, healthy. So make sure that it's not too often in a short period of time. Keep your pin content fresh, not the same link, not the same image. Just trying to make sure that it's a fresh content. And then stay away from salesy content. Now, the reason that I wanted to warn you guys about this is because we are building a relationship. Sendible is building a relationship with Pinterest. So if one of our customers starts having bad practice, starts practicing bad practice tip and breaking these tips, we will actually flag that account and we will look to educate the user so that Pinterest doesn't actually flag the account and then block both the account and potentially other Sendible users. So because we're looking to protect our customers as well as protect the ability to really continue to offer Pinterest, we want to make sure that we follow these best practice tips as best as possible. All right, so that's what I was going to cover. I'm going to go ahead and invite Julie on to answer any questions that we have. It does look like we have one.
It was more a comment about how awesome the information is. So.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Sounds like Jennifer is new to Pinterest, and so a good overview of how to get started.
Perfect. Great. Good to know.
Heather also had a question about, can she send links to a blog about lifestyle on Pinterest? And the answer there is yes, following the best practices that Savannah had mentioned. Change up the image, don't get too salesy, and talk about what's interesting about the blog, and then include the link. And that's what Pinterest does. That's exactly how it's intended to be used. I did want to share one other thing. In case we don't often have trouble with Pinterest connections, but in case something does seem to not be working correctly, it is possible to revoke Pinterest's connection with Sendible and then reconnect it, which often solves a bunch of problems. And let's see, let me, if I can show you in the Pinterest settings. So I've gone into my account settings here, and under apps, you can see that Sendible is listed here and what permissions you have granted Sendible is listed here. And if, for instance, something's just not working right, pins aren't going out for some reason, or you see an error message, it's pretty simple to revoke access within Pinterest and then go back into Sendible and then reconnect that profile.
I love how easy that is, Julie.
It really is. And I really appreciate Pinterest listing all of the permissions that you have granted.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we have a few more questions, or one from Carolyn.
Image guidelines for Pinterest. That's a good question. Let me check on that. But I do know that if you use the image editor within Sendible, those guidelines are embedded into that. And so you can choose to do a Pinterest tall image or just a regular Pinterest image. And those guidelines are, like I said, they're just embedded in that.
Awesome. Any other questions about Pinterest?
Jennifer is talking about, we do skydiving, never thought to go to Pinterest. You should think about it, because I can imagine all kinds of really cool pictures,
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, what a perfect thing for such a visual platform.
Yep. Carolyn, I'm actually going to have to get back to you on those image guidelines. I know that they exist. I'm just not finding them at the moment. and I know I've seen them recently, so I will follow up with you.
Awesome. Well, if there are no more questions, anybody else want to do a last call? We still want to make sure that we cover them if anybody has any questions. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming. Make sure you join us again next week where my colleague Marcus will be taking over. We look forward to chatting with you soon. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye, everyone.